To be human is to be bound to time. We learn to make sense of our lives and our time, both in rhythm and ritual. To be present in this moment is to experience the ever-collapsing realization that we are here right now. Over the last few years, few things have been more poignant in my life than the ritual of coffee and the repetition of morning prayer. This is Broad Porch Coffee in Luray, Virginia. These are dear friends making incredible coffee in the Shenandoah Valley. And this is the story of Brazilian Roastwood, the coffee that we sell through Guitar Hunter, and how we are trying to fill the world with music, friendship, and wonderful coffee.
Mr. Broad Porch.
Hey, Ernie. How's it going?
Hey. Hey, everybody. This is Phil. Phil, we are friends. We are neighbors.
Yes.
And about a year ago, we started roasting coffee. We didn't get to tell them why. If you bought coffee from JeremyTheGuitarHunter.com, this is where it's roasted.
That's where it all happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us about your business. How'd you get started? How'd you get here?
Short version?
Sure.
Broad Porch Coffee started when I lived on Broad Street in Harrisonburg and started roasting coffee on my front porch because I set off the smoke alarm when I was inside. I was just roasting for fun. I did that, started in 2014. I worked with my business partner Jill at a restaurant. We knew each other for a long time and basically started a cafe with a small roastery in 2017. And we've kind of been growing since then, and now we're roasting on this big thing.
So a few years ago, my family, we moved back from New Orleans. I grew up in the Valley, but when we came back, that's when I discovered Broad Porch, and that's where how you and I became friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was it became our weekly thing, with my family. We'd go to the farmer's market, and then we'd walk up the hill.
Yep.
We'd get coffee, we'd buy beans. Your coffee is different than any coffee I've ever had. It's just delicious and cool, and it formed this ritual and rhythm to our family that has been really cool. So when I started thinking why would I sell coffee? Friendship is the tool by which I make sense of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us, how do we go from there, green beans here, how do we go from beans to coffee?
So a lot of people don't know that coffee beans are actually the seeds of a coffee cherry. It grows on a big bush, almost tree-like sometimes, and it's processed in the country of origin. It's dried, and then it's basically shipped to me in these big bags over here, 150 pounds, 130 pounds, depends. And I get this green raw coffee that is not safe for consumption. The drum roaster, we apply heat, the beans are agitated, and we have recipes based on time and temperature, basically. To achieve desired, light roast, medium roast, dark roast, whatever you want, and then it's pretty much ready to drink.
The coffee you drop off, the other day we got them and they were from the day before.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fastest I've ever seen coffee go from beans to roasted to coffee.
Yeah, we often taste coffees right after they're roasted. You're heating up beans to over 400 degrees, so there's a lot of built up CO2 in that roasting process. They go from those green raw material to that dark bean you're used to, and so that can affect the way it's brewed. Basically, the off-gassing, when you grind it, that starts happening. When you add water, that starts happening even more, and the CO2 leaving the bean can actually prohibit extraction of the coffee flavors you want. So it's actually really good to rest your coffee for a couple days.
Yeah.
It depends on the application and the type of coffee. But, our theory and a lot of other roasters' theories is if I get the consumer their coffee as fast as possible, they will be able to enjoy the coffee for a longer amount of time, because coffee goes stale. It starts going stale right away, essentially. As soon as you grind it, it's losing flavor. It sits on your shelf for a month, it's losing flavor. But if you get it the day after roast, you can brew it right away, and you can also enjoy that coffee for as long as you need to.
And it's so good. So we haven't done any ground, because I think we share that conviction of the experience matters. I think that's the biggest, if you want just run and gun coffee, there's a gajillion places to buy coffee that's already ground. But so we sell the whole bean and we do that. But how did we, because we also, you and I formulated Brazilian Roastwood, which it's a pun, but it's also I love Brazilian roast. That's my favorite coffee that you've done.
Gibson guitar, right?
It's a bunch.
It's a bunch of guitars.
It's a bunch of guitars.
He's the guitar.
Yeah, so Brazilian rosewood is the most desirable wood for most old acoustic guitars, and then it's just an easy pun.
Yeah.
Brazilian roast.
Easy.
So we came up with like, hey, like, I like this about coffee, and you came back with some stuff. And because of COVID and because of the way the world was a year ago, we didn't get to do this thorough process. I would love to do more specific roasts and do some other stuff. But
you told me what you like, and we just figured out what would work for you, so we just made it happen. And we go through everything from light Ethiopians, we go to dark Sumatran. This is a more medium roast. It's super accessible, but also very flavorful, chocolatey, smooth, not bitter at all.
Dude, that's what, like, for me, the Brazilian roastwood is just like a perfect, warm, full-bodied, powerful cup of coffee. It just works really well for everybody. It's delicious. And but yeah, so if you want them, you can. If you want Brazilian roastwood, when you buy that, that supports me, my family, Dylan, who's running the camera. That's how this YouTube channel works. There's also a small, crazy connection in which Dylan, who's holding the camera, used to work at Broad Porch. But then also, you can go to, is it broadporch.com, Broad Porch Coffee?
Broadporchcoffee.com.
Broadporchcoffee.com. We'll have links down in the description down below. And so you can buy all of the amazing, cool, there's all kinds of beans. There's some that we can talk about and some that are secret, exciting
Not
things.
released yet.
Yes. But when you do those, you support just a wonderful small business. There's a phrase on the sign outside. Tell us what it is and what it means.
I believe the sign says "fueled by small victory." Starting a small business is tough. And then COVID was tough. Everything was tough, but it's super rewarding, and you gotta like appreciate those small victories. And so we say it all the time. If like we make a really good drink that's just better than normal, or like the latte art looks great, or the roast is just so good, anything happens, like man, that's a small victory right there.
There's a thing that happens, and I've talked about this. There's a thing that happens like when you buy a guitar from a small luthier or a pedal from a small builder that's trying to make their business happen. Like when you spend that money, you feel proud of what that money is getting to do. And so that's where every dollar you spend with Broad Porch Coffee, it helps people live the dream of owning their own business and hiring new employees and starting new locations and just filling the world with delicious coffee. So,
Thanks, man.
Buddy.
Appreciate it.
Dude, this was awesome. Thanks for the place. Cool. BroadPorchCoffee.com.
Guitar Hunter.